2, and 1.
If your soul feels out of sync with the universe, it's time to reconnect. Join us at Ascending with Our Roots Holistic Retreat, taking place on May 3rd and 4th at the breathtaking Hocking Hills State Park. This retreat is packed with transcending healing practices and self-empowerment. Day 1 kicks off with a sacred cacao blessing, dives deep into shadow work and biofield tuning at Rose Lake, and ends with a vibrant evening of fire and flow arts. Day 2 features sunrise nature yoga, a picturesque group hike through Hocking Hills, and a guided elemental meditation. Enjoy free time for one-on-one healing sessions or self-reflection before joining our playful inner child hooping flow shop. We'll close the retreat with more fire and flow arts under the stars. Vegetarian and vegan meals are provided and tent rentals are available. And don't forget, May 4th is Star Wars Day, so let your inner Jedi shine. Register now by scanning the QR code, visiting our Facebook event page, or sending a DM to Marcus Christolight. May the 4th be with you.
Ascending with Our Roots Hocking Hills Holistic Retreat, coming up May the 3rd and the 4th. There will be holistic healing workshops like sound healing, guided meditation, yoga, and more, cacao ceremony, fire and flow arts. Along with that, meals provided, vegetarian and vegan, hiking, as well as primitive camping. Scan the QR code to get started, use the jot form link in the Facebook event page, or reach out with questions. Hello, grand day everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Sacred Kingdom Community Podcast. And we're on episode 3 as we open up this brand new journey of exploring this wonderful community podcast. And my name is Marcus Christolight for everybody out there. I am the founder of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. I am a broadcast network producer. I'm also an editor as well. I am a holistic, you can say shamanic, quantum-based practitioner. I offer a wider range of practices ranging from Reiki to intuitive readings, to chakra balancing, inner child healing, subconscious reprogramming, as well as Akashic record, soul origin therapy. And with that being said, we are here tonight to talk about the wonderful topic of power of the mind. And power of the mind, I know for a lot of us out there, we may have heard of figures like Joe Dispenza, Deepak Chopra, as well as many other figures when it comes to the power of the mind. And joining us as well, co-hosting this space, along with a few others, including Sara down below, we have Rebecca. And Rebecca, if you would like to share a little bit about yourself, let everybody know who you are and what you offer, feel free.
Hello, namaste, and happy Saturday, everybody. I am the creator of Blistering Wood, Spiritual Healing in Blistering Wood, but you can find me under blisteringwood.com. I am a holistic healer, Reiki master, quantum healer. I am a forest therapy guide. I am also a shaman, a full mesa carrying shaman for the Kuro. I also do sacred sage smoke readings. On top of that, I also have an office out of Sharonville, Blue Ash location where you can hit me up. I do readings, intuitive medical services, as well as a whole bunch of other things. I do a ton of things. I have a weekly Reiki share on Thursdays, free to the community. Any healers that want to come up can join. I do a lot of other things, but yeah, you can definitely hit me up for anything like that. I will be at a lot of Marcus's upcoming retreats as well, so you can see me there. One of my favorite things to do is Gaia Grid Vortex Therapy. So I will be doing that on the retreats, but I really help Mother Earth heal and yourself out in nature. And I do a lot of painting. So I do channeled paintings as well. And I could go on, but that's just a little bit. So if you want to know more about me, definitely hit me up.
Thank you for sharing all that about yourself.
You're
Quite
welcome.
the array of practices that you share.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a question, actually.
Yes.
How long has it been since you have became, I guess, aware of your conscious journey?
So I have always known at 3.5, I knew I was different. At the beginning of, at 3.5, I would sit and talk to the rocks and the crystals. There's pictures of me as a little child just holding rocks, where the rest of my family's like off doing things. And like just now looking back and understanding my whole journey, it's just been amazing. But yeah, at 3.5, I had some significant things happen to me. And I would sit and talk to nature. And I remember telling my family, my mom in particular, like, Mom, it doesn't matter. Like, I was raised Catholic, but I knew at 3.5 that it wasn't just that. I knew God was everywhere and everything was connected. And I tried to tell them that, and they did not like it. So, it is what it is. But I lived a lot of life since then, and went through some trauma, and that really brought a lot of it back. And when I went through that, it was just like, bam, this is what you're supposed to do. And I no longer do the 9 to 5. I had a 9 to 5 job. This is all I do. And I love it. But yeah, it's been at 3.5, I knew I was different. I was in the hospital, and I was sit next to people because I knew I could heal them just by sitting next to them. And it was just, it's been my life since then. Lots of beautiful journeys and healings and new understandings of how the brain works and how to reprogram things, and crystals and breath work, just so much symbols. I mean, at 3.5, I knew when I closed my eyes, I could see things that weren't there. I could see things with my eyes open, but my third eye was open from the time that I can remember. I remember I would sit in front of closets to protect my family from portals that I knew were there. And I didn't know at 3.5 what those actually were. I just knew if I stood there or sat there or even slept on the floor, that nothing could come through. So it's just been this very interesting journey. And I finally, I walk in my authenticity. I speak light language. I didn't say that, but it's something that I do, and I really hold everything that I have and have been given with the most humbleness, grace, but also walk this path to help as many people as I can. So, yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Wow. Got Sara down there.
Hey.
Would you like to share a little bit about yourself, Sara?
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Sara. I live in Arizona. And I'm a conscious mother and an herbalist and a QHHT student, and I'm in training. I suppose I've been on my journey of healing and awakening, if you will. It's a very broadly used term, but for about 10 years, since 2014, roughly. And I'm really excited to keep finding new things to learn day by day. You know, I guess I got interested in QHHT back in 2015 or 16. I found Dolores Cannon and all of our favorites, you know, and it just opened my eyes to so many different things that are possibilities in life. You know what I mean? QHHT has helped millions, and I've had so much relief from it. And so it's inspired me to do very similar to what Rebecca's saying and go help as many people as I can. So that's what I'm in process of doing. And I love it. It's awesome. And I have a lot of respect for you, Rebecca. You have a lot of hats that you wear, and I'm like, wow. But you do too, Marcus, you know, so hey. But yeah, I'm honored to be here and on this journey with you guys.
Namaste. Thank you, Sara.
Thank you.
Glad you're here. Yeah, you've inspired me a lot when it comes, and when you were able to heal your burn through your own herbal concoction, I gotta say, like, that was very impressive, and you really knew what you were doing. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that testimony?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to share the testimony. So let's see. I think it was July of 2023. Would that be? Ish. It was in the summer months. June or July, rough there, around in there, of 2023. And I had, long story, but I had a friend staying with me, and I left the house and I came back and I walked into my house and there was a fire on my stove. Like he was cooking some stuff. It was a big, huge piece of meat on a cast iron skillet, like a big, huge roast, almost like a big, huge piece of meat, huge. And I came in and opened the door and I looked and there was a big, huge flame going on my stove. I was like, what in the world? And I ran over there and I couldn't find Brian. I was like, hey, Brian. And nobody answered. So I thought, okay, what's going on? I got to get rid of this fire. And the first instinct is to grab it and to get it out of the house. You know, it's on a skillet, you know. And so I went over there and I grabbed some pot holders and my cast iron skillet, and those are heavy, you know. And then I'm running around with a flaming cast iron skillet in my hand. And I'm going back and forth. Okay, what do I do? And I jerked the thing a little too fast when the door came open in the back, and I jerked to move to hurry up and quickly get outside the house. And that's when the entire thing of grease poured all down the front of my thigh and shin. And it covered about a third of my leg in this hot boiling grease. And I didn't know what to do. No one ever tells you. We don't ever go over this in school, you know. What do you do in case you have a really bad burn? Right? All I know is stop, drop, and roll, and that didn't work. So anyway, yeah, I just immediately put cold water on it. That's all I really knew to do, to cool it down a little bit. Well, long story is I ended up treating it myself with herbs. And that sounds really daunting, and it was really daunting, to be honest with you. But I had to weigh the options, and I had to weigh the odds. And myself, I am a holistic person, and I do not take allopathic medicine. And I do my best to eat as best as I can. And so I'm a business owner, and at the time I was a single mom, and like I said, don't take allopathic medicine. And so And I really didn't want to eat the GMO food provided at the hospital. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? I really don't want to go to the hospital, but I really need to. So anyway, I just started doing deep diving and trusted my already learned knowledge of herbs and made myself several different concoctions throughout the whole process, with a burn that size. I mean, it was at least probably 14 inches long on my thigh alone, maybe 16 inches on my thigh alone, like my whole entire thigh, basically. And so they recommend, if you look it up online, to go to the emergency room if it's over 3 inches long. And again, I was like, well, what am I going to do? Who's going to take care of my business, my animals, who's going to cook for me? Who's going to cook for my son? And so I basically did it out of personal choice. I mean, I was scared, but I did it, and so I used 3 different types of, right away I used aloe vera from the yard and lavender essential oil. And then I got into infection and it got into all kinds of stuff. I actually got a staph infection from the water itself coming from the faucet. And so that's when I decided to make a triple antibiotic cream and a burn cream all in one. And let me tell you, this stuff worked miracles. I actually have this labeled September of 23, this bottle of salve I have right here. So I guess it was a little bit later than I thought. But yeah, anyway, the main few ingredients are comfrey and comfrey root, lemon balm, calendula, vitamin E, coconut oil, olive oil. And there's more ingredients in it, but that's a few basics in it. And so I just started treating it and dressing the wounds, appropriately. I did so many deep dives and I just figured out my way. And at about 3 weeks or so, I did decide to go down to the burn clinic in downtown Phoenix, Arizona here. And, they were really upset with me, to be honest, at first. And they scolded me and told me, how dare I, And I told them, I said, hey, guys, I appreciate the concern, but I'm just coming to double check that all the work I have done is healing nicely and healing accurately, And so I printed off all the information that I referenced during my whole entire process. And I made a special folder of all the pictures and videos I made of the different healing processes I went through as well. And I displayed it to the doctors and the physician assistant and the nurse and everything. And they were, honestly, at the very end of my appointment, they were taking notes from me. Because up until that point, they had really only learned about the medicinal properties of Manuka honey on burns, which I guess is a very beneficial go-to if you have a burn, Manuka honey, because of the antibacterial properties in it. But anyway, I left probably, 40 pages of information that I had used, different herbs and their uses, different protocols and procedures that I found. And it was really an amazing, beautiful situation because it went from, me being a rebellious, didn't listen to directions person who entered the office and then I left, them thanking me for the new information and knowledge I had shared with them. So everything ended up turning out great. My leg is fully healed. I didn't need any skin grafts or anything like that. And yeah. So I guess the moral of the story would be, and of course I've got to put a disclaimer in front of this, is just have faith in yourself. I don't want to say anybody can heal anything because I can't say for certain that being true. So if you are in a situation where you are an herbal person or you feel like you can do something, then do it. Trust your instinct and trust yourself. That's very important. Even if something looks totally scary, it's totally doable,
That's like a very great way to step into our topic for this episode, which is power of the mind. And there's numerous experiences I can bring up as well. And before we fully step in, let's go and explore a little bit of what this topic is going to be about. Today's topic on the Sacred Kingdom Community Podcast: Power of the Mind, exploring rewiring our neural pathways, balancing our perception, stepping into our innate sovereign mindset power, clearing away distortions and attachments, and coming into conscious awareness of what is in the background of our subconscious containers. Wholeness, balanced love. So yeah, I feel like a really good way to break open into our topic, power of the mind, with Sarah's example too, is programming. The programming, the belief systems that you are taking on and choosing to continue to pattern as the truth for your being, as in the way that it is sensing and connecting and relating to the outer world. And that's what I mean by programming, really, is how is it that you are perceiving, relating, and sensing the outside world in your experiences. And, an example I want to bring up is, power of the mind. And Joe Dispenza is like a very good example of this right here as well. Is, you go to the doctor, and the doctor, you're either an athlete, and you're an athlete that, tears your ACL. Back before it was a more common thing. And they typically would say like, oh, you'll never be able to play again. But then the athlete is able to come back the next season and they play even better than they were before. Another example is you are someone that has been diagnosed, and you've been diagnosed with something that could be potentially life-threatening. That doctor basically tells you that your only ultimatum is that you only have so long, and that's it. So we can either mentally program ourselves to believe that our ultimatum is only our way out of here, and that's it. There's no consideration that our biological field can regenerate. There's no consideration that we can remove energies, toxins, and then we can replace and regenerate and rebuild. And we can also utilize many different, I guess if you want to say the word alternative, holistic, and shamanic practices out there that can help with rebalancing the mental, emotional, and physical health. And it's pretty outstanding, the testimonies out there of how many chose to go the route of not believing in what the doctor had said, that they weren't able to reverse the cancer, they weren't able to reverse diabetes. But then what I've seen is, complete diet changes, and those complete diet changes to plant-based whole foods and staying with that only, detoxing, fasting a little bit more, drinking water. People that have done that, there's been results where they have completely reversed and also removed the cancerous cells, as well as other dis-ease and imbalances within the being. So that right there is just a prime example of how you can program with the power of the mind through your belief power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. I know I was diagnosed with PTSD after a lot of the trauma that I had. And I did do, the regular therapy type of things. I did EMDR therapy. I did sit down therapy. But it was really me believing and reprogramming my mind and healing those wounds myself to get me through that, get me through the triggers and whatnot that would have set me off in the past. And it was a good solid like 13 months. Like this stuff does not happen overnight, but if you put the work in, just like, any sport, your body, your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, heart, body, all of your fivefold being is literally worth you putting that time in. And it took me like 13 months, but I no longer have PTSD, and I was clinically diagnosed with PTSD. So it is 100% doable. You can remove those things, trauma-based, any type of trauma, anything. Like you really just, you sit with yourself, you reprogram, you heal, you find the things you need to tweak and change. And you just start to see beautiful things like bloom in your life once you finally realize it. Like you only need one little thing to change that you can recognize and see it. And you're like, wait a minute. Old me would have not done that. Old me would have been crying in the corner or, picking at skins. Like I even had OCD, and I would pick my fingers, I'd pick my feet. And through all of, the subconscious changes for my neural pathways, everything that I've done, that's all gone. I mean, like all of it. And even like art therapy, like I used to have night terrors, like would wake me up constantly. I would wake my entire house up screaming, like adult children would run into my room, like, are you okay? And through painting, just that one thing before I went to bed has removed all my night terrors. I channel all of the, anything that I need to get out onto a canvas, and no night terrors. So yeah, there's so many different holistic techniques that you can do to help reprogram your neural pathways. It's just amazing that there's so many things that we don't know out there. And it's just beautiful to, recognize it firsthand, have things happen firsthand, or for our clients and things like that. Like we are living proof that these things can be healed without medication or without being on disability for the rest of your life. Like, I mean, how many people are on disability for PTSD? Hundreds and hundreds and thousands, and I'm like, I healed it. I do not have those triggers anymore. And I did. I mean, I had so many. So there is hope out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the thing.
I myself have stories like yours too, in my personal life, Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
Like my son does too.
Yeah. I mean, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I'm on the autism spectrum, and it's like I don't have any of those labels. Like I have, through all of this work, I've been able to just remove label, and I'm like, I don't. Yeah. I mean, even down to like addictions. I was in a car accident. You can see I have 3 fusions in my neck, 3 in my low back. I was hit by a drunk driver. I took Percocets for 10 years. Like I literally was on pain medication, like chained to the pain medication bottle. I no longer do anything. Like I don't take any medication. I had high blood pressure at one time. I no longer have high blood pressure. So it's like, all of these things you can overcome. Addictions, medications, any type of medical diagnosis, you can get rid of all of them. Like you just have to have, a little bit of faith, a little bit of belief, and tweaking some of the things that you do, and like changing, like being open to change. Like you have to be open to it. You can't be attached to that label. You can't have that label of I've got PTSD on my arm. I'm always going to have a trigger when I go to the hospital, or if I hear a loud bang, or if somebody slams a door. Like you can't be chained to those things. You can't wear it around your neck.
You bring up a really good point there. Yeah.
We are not victims. No victim. You cannot be a victim.
Thank you.
I just want to add on the tail end of that. Yes, if for anybody who's listening, if your doctor gives you or anyone you love any diagnoses, make sure to always do your due diligence and your research, because I was in 110 miles an hour head-on collision when I was 21 years old and told I wasn't able to walk again, and I do. And my son also, we reversed a lot of his autistic physical signs. He had like stimming walking and hand flapping and so forth and stuff like that. Through practices and detoxification, he no longer has those. Could he possibly, in theory, still qualify for a label? Maybe. But hey, progress is progress.
Yeah.
You know? So never let anybody tell you you can't, because that's just not true. That's fake news.
Yep. Our cells are regenerating every 7 minutes I forget what the longest amount is. I know there's a longer amount, but like your cheek cells, I think it's like every 7 minutes or something like we are literally we are new beings. I think it's every 7 years. I think the longest organ might take 7 years, but I'm like, so literally every 7 years, you're brand new. There's no age. There is no limit. There is no aging. There is none of that. Like, it is 100%. You're new. You're new. There's none of that. Like, yes, your body is literally new all the time.
And if you do have a diagnosis, like let's say blood pressure, high blood pressure or something, there is hope for you too, right? There's always a hope. There's always a solution somewhere.
Yeah. I don't take high blood pressure medicine anymore. Literally, the doctor took it off my list. Like, instead of saying like, we're just going to put you in remission, they removed it from my medical chart. It no longer says high blood pressure. And I had it. It was like family related since I was 18 was when I was diagnosed. And just last year, he was like, we're just going to take it off. You no longer are a high blood pressure person. So it is not in my medical chart anymore. It's nothing. And like, yeah, that's amazing. Like, I'm like, how do you get rid of high blood pressure 100% from
that is so amazing.
Yeah.
Just like mental health conditions or issues that people are told, hey, there's no recovering from this. This is a lifelong deal.
Yep.
You know, so that's really powerful that you say you don't even take them anymore, and the doctor says you don't need them anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I know. And it's interesting you bring up mental, because it goes the other way as well. So
that's true.
I know. Yeah. Like I was off work for 13 months when I still had my regular 9-to-5 job, and 100% went through like a mental breakdown. 100%. I was going through so many things. And during those 13 months of like healing myself, I also went through every mental disability that you could possibly think of. Like, at one point I was like, am I schizophrenic? And then I started like having more schizophrenic type of symptoms. Am I bipolar? Started to have bipolar symptoms. So it's like, your brain is so powerful. If you think on the negative thoughts and you think on the things that they're telling you that you have, you will have them. Like, 100%. So like, as you said earlier, Marcus, like cancers and sicknesses, disease, and like the diagnoses, like we've both been talking about it, but if they give you a diagnosis, don't hang on to it. That's not my label, because if you hang on to it, your brain will be like, and the universe and your biofield's going to bring it in. Oh, they say they have this. Let's keep giving it. Let's keep making sure that the biofield pulls this in, the brain pulls this in, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the mental, all of it. So it's like, when you hear people talking about being positive, that's where it's at. Like, you have got to be positive. You cannot hold on to those negative thoughts. Like, reprogram your brain. That's what this is about. The neural pathways, they don't know negative or positive. They just know the words you're telling them. So don't tell them, don't feed them those thoughts. Feed them the positive, the healthy thoughts.
It's the rhythm, the patterns, and the frequency.
Yeah.
It's those three right there, everybody. Like, you concentrate on those three, that is what makes up the human being, basically. Your rhythms, your patterns, and your frequencies. And I love like talking about this, teaching it, discussing it, because reprogramming is kind of like give what I call like the 3 ingredients in reprogram. The 3 ingredients to me is like repetition, intention, and consistency. And the more that you are in repetition with your intentions consistently, then the more you create and generate patterns with your energy that reprogram you. And what I kind of tapped into for my own translation is that that's what human beings are made up of. They're made up of patterns, routines, and whatever is the most consistent of that. That's what a habit is, a routine. It's like the consistency of doing patterns. So our programming, our subconscious, is kind of just like a ticker, kind of just keeps track of every information that we do and everything that we absorb. So that subconscious, whatever that is most consistently being filled with, is more likely going to be the programming running in the background. So what I kind of like to share with people when it comes to manifestation, law of attraction, is really observing yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically, not just from a material basis of material and just mental affirmations, but really diving into that subconscious container and seeing, what's in my background, what patterns may be on autopilot that are causing resistance for me to manifest properly, or what patterns connected to certain traumas are continuing to pattern these type of relationships that I haven't been wanting to pattern. And these things are things that we all go through as human beings throughout our journey. And what I find is that the more that I have made sure to really address the different patterns or the different limited beliefs or attachments that arise, that I've been able to move forward more freely and also be able to, I guess in a sense, not pick up on as much resentment or karmic energy to the experiences due to being able to let go. So, the power of the mind is, there's just so much power to the mind when you really think about it. That's not even starting to get into, the Hermetic principles or just mentalism and alchemy. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
This beat. Speaking of rhythms.
Right? Makes my light language want to come out with my hands.
Oh, you're free to go for it.
When I work on people, pulling out some things, that's how I do it. For the negative pathways, you'll see me when I'm working on people. Push it away.
So I have an announcement for everybody. And that announcement, I'm just going to go ahead and let it announce itself.
Ever wondered what it feels like to heal under the full moon? This is your chance to find out. On May 12th, join Marcus Christolight of Sacred Light Healing for an unforgettable full moon art and sound healing event. From 7-9 p.m. EST, immerse yourself in a night of enchantment at the cozy space next door to Portia's Cafe in Columbus, Ohio. Picture this, mystical LED and black lighting setting the perfect ambiance as you create free-flowing, connective art. Sip on reishi coffee, cacao and snacks while you let your creativity soar. Feel the vibrations of shamanic live painter Rebecca Jones of Blistering Wood Pyrography, and Heather Lynn of Heart Alchemy Wellness with her mesmerizing singing bowls and tuning forks. All while Marcus Christolight guides you through a transcendental healing meditation. And the best part? This magical experience is free and donation-based, making it accessible to everyone. So invite your family, friends, and anyone else who could use a little mystical healing in their life. Don't miss out on this sacred space for fun, connection, and transformation. Got questions? Text Marcus Christolight at 513-238-5580. See you under the full moon.
That's right.
That sounds so amazing. Where's my teleporter?
Right?
Yeah.
Donation base for everybody out there. Donation base.
That's amazing.
In Columbus, Ohio. At Portia's Cafe in Columbus, Ohio for everybody out there. That'll be on Monday, May the 12th. And yeah, it's going to be an awesome space. You know, we're going to have some beautiful lighting, wonderful colors. We're going to have art set up for people to use in different fashions. And then Rebecca is going to give us the honor of live painting. And then Heather will be doing some sound healing. And then I'll be doing guided meditation to close this out. And then for everybody else out there that likes reishi coffee, there'll be some reishi coffee. And then there'll be some snacks available as well. So if you guys have questions, just reach out. And that's May the 12th again for you guys. All sorts of really good stuff coming up. We got a Colorado retreat in June. July, we have a veterans retreat in Ohio. August, we have Sedona. We have October, which is going to be a Peruvian shamanic retreat. And then 11/11, Mount Shasta. And then to close out on the new year, we have still yet to determine our location because we're honestly going to let that marinate a little bit and just see what kind of options come up. So a lot of good activities going on for everybody out there to be a part of regarding the Sacred Kingdom and our wonderful communities that we have combined together. Man.
A lot of good stuff. I can't wait. It's beautifulness is coming in for all of us.
So I wanted to ask, Rebecca, I know you're talking about a lot of, overcoming and a lot of transformation. Mm-hmm. What is some of your favorite practices? What's some of your favorite modalities that have really helped catapult you into the healing that you've really needed necessary for these, what typically, in the public eye are pretty major imbalances within the being, especially like chemically and everything?
Yeah. Really, there was a lot of faith that started it, and knowing how connected that everything is and how connected we are, and trusting my higher self. That was really in the beginning, trusting, like, am I crazy? What is going on? What's happening with me? Because when I was off for those 13 months, all of my gifts really came in a lot stronger than they ever have been. Like, I mean, I talk about at 3.5, I remember I could close my eyes and see colors. Well, when I went through this mental shift, like full blown movies are happening when I close my eyes. And I'm like, does anybody else see this? Does anybody else hear what I'm hearing? Does anybody else notice these things? Do people, can they walk in a room and know that somebody sitting next to them has a hurt Achilles heel? Like, is this normal? Like, it was like really bombarding, like all of my senses just turned on at once. Where when I was little, it was always like clairaudient. And I was very clairvoyant, but like I didn't always have everything. And it was just like all of a sudden spirit was like, boom, you get them all on at one time. So it was like having faith that, one, I wasn't crazy, but two, really what catapulted me from there was taking the classes, like going through, you know, my Reiki practitioner license, like doing all of those things, and then sitting outside in nature. So like just sitting out. So forest bathing, Shinrin Yoku, which is the Japanese word for forest bathing. That helped. And I didn't even know what I was doing at the time. Like for those 13 months, I mean, I did quite a lot of things trying to get better, but every day I went to the park. Every single day I went to the park closest to my house, rain, shine, snow, it didn't matter. And I sat at this tree every day, and I sat there, and I didn't know why I was drawn to always go and sit. You think at the park, people just want to like walk or exercise. I went to the same tree every day and would sit my back up against this tree and like just ground and breathe and just sit with myself, and then really start like listening, you know, higher self listening to source energy, listening to nature, feeling the breath, noticing that animals would run up to me and I would be like, they don't care. Like squirrels would like walk right by me up the tree. And I'm like, okay, is this normal? Do squirrels usually do this? And just really sitting there. And, that was probably the first breakthrough in like noticing the signs around me, the synchronicities of things as I'm driving, and I'm like, you know, bawling my eyes out for whatever reason, whatever trauma that I was like unpacking at the time, and kind of being like, source energy, God, where are you? And then I would like turn a corner and a license plate would say, literally, it said, here I is. I know it's not the right whatever, but I was like, God, where are you? License plate right in front of me, here I is. So it was like I started following the signs that I was given. So that was really like the first step. And then the nature, sitting out in nature, because again, Shinrin Yoko, we all have, so trees have something called phytoncides. And when you sit next to a tree, those are the tree's immune system. And we breathe those in, and those immune systems start to kill all the free radical cells in our body. So it is a proven Japanese technique of healing. And I did it without even realizing it. Now I am a certified forest therapy guide, and that's what I do with people. But I didn't know I was doing it at the time. So like nature was helping me before I even realized I was doing it. And then from there, it was just the mental thought process. Every time a negative thought came through my head, I was like, no, you are not my thought. I need to think something positive. How can I flip that thought into something different? So it was like just taking one tiny thing. So long time ago, some trauma from my past. When I was younger, my dad used to call me, so everybody used to call me Becky. So some people know me from Becky, if you knew me from a long time ago. And he would say, Becky, 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 dumb, dumb, dumb. For the longest time, I thought I was stupid. So that was something that was literally programmed into my head. And as I got older and like going through this process, I was like, I know I'm not. I have got so much knowledge in here. And it was like anytime that I did something that old me would have been like, oh, that was stupid, you shouldn't have done that. Like, it was like, no, I did that for my highest and best timeline that I'm living right now. So that means that couldn't have been stupid. It couldn't have been dumb. So it was like just changing the way I thought to myself. That was probably the biggest thing, is just changing what I thought about myself. 100% every day, something new. If something else popped into my head that felt like a negative thought, like you shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't, I changed all of those shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn'ts. There was never a reason to ever say that, because that's past and I can't change it. So, and I did it. So I have to love the person that did that. So I had to just really start thinking differently about myself and adding that to, the flow, adding that to everything else that I was changing. If I changed my habits of going to the park every day, I went to the park every day, and just like changing what I did. And yeah, it just was like a snowball eventually. I used a lot of the practices of my spiritual life coaching on myself. And it was just amazing to see the triggers fall away and know, like, old me, literally, like I said, I would be crying in the corner or like incapacitated, not getting out of bed. I'm not brushing my teeth today. I'm not changing my clothes. I don't care. I'm just stopping life and slowly realizing I'm not stopping life anymore. I'm doing what I need to do every day. So like, even if it's like every day when I wake up, I'm going to brush my teeth. Like if you're depressed, you're like clinically depressed, and that's like something like you don't want to get out of bed. Every day, I'm going to at least do one thing. And that one thing is I'm going to brush my teeth. And that was that was one of my one things was I'm going to wake up and brush my teeth. And that sounds like whatever, but it is like, you know what, when you're depressed, you don't want to brush your teeth. You don't want to change your clothes. You don't want to do anything. So one of my one things to do, and it was one thing when I first started, was brush your teeth. The next, once I got that into a routine again, I don't leave my bedroom without brushing my teeth and making my bed. So it was like changing certain things, adding new habits in. And no matter how sad, tired, depressed, and lonely, like if you start to see the light, even just a smidge, you're going to hold on to it with both hands, or at least that's what I did. And that's what I try to foster to, everybody that comes to me for life coaching and things. It's like, you have to put the work in because you're worth it. Without you, your chain won't be here. The people connected to your chain that you're supposed to ignite will not ignite without you. Somebody else is going to have to pick up that extra baggage to ignite your chain. And we're all here to ignite each other. So we all have purpose. Nobody here is just here doing nothing. Everybody here on this earth has a purpose, and they are here to ignite somebody else. So we need all of you. Everybody needs to be here. And if you need help, reach out to anybody, because there is help. 100%. I know I said a lot.
No. Hey, flow as you need.
I was like, there's been a lot. There's been a lot that I've done, a lot that has happened, and I have overcome all of it. And again, I wouldn't change anything, because if I wanted to change anything that happened to me in the past, I wouldn't be this person right now talking to you. So, bring on every trauma that I ever had. I will walk through every flame to get through it, because I love the person that I am now. And at one point I didn't love anything about myself. All the things that, the things that I did or said, and like there's so much, but I unconditionally love myself and have forgiven myself and have forgiven everybody else, because I'm a beautiful person now. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all of that.
Amazing.
So humbling.
It's so interesting. I'm sitting here listening to your testimony, and we're talking, all of us here, and I just happened to look over, and I made this really cool sign when I found the book called The Secret back in 2015, 16, I believe. And that just opens the doorway to the idea and the concept of that we can create our own reality, that book itself, because it doesn't fully cover everything, but it covers a lot. And I can remember when I found that book, it blew my mind. I thought, wait a minute. Wait just 1 minute here. You mean we can create our own reality? And so this thing I just happened to find and run across as you were chatting there and talking right there, it says, ask, believe, and receive. And then below ask, it says, smile, be forthright. Ask, and ask truly from your heart what you really want from life, what you really want out of the next step, right? And then the next thing, believe. Believe what you are asking for is possible. Believe you can achieve it, envision it, feel your gift, feel it with all of your emotions, feel how happy you would be if you got that said thing, or if you achieved said thing, right? And if you ask and you believe, and you do some work and you do the work in order to maintain and stay the person and become the person that needs to be to receive that gift, you will receive that gift. So remaining positive and making sure you have room for your request. Let's use the example of someone who desperately wants to be married. Well, let's just pretend for a minute this person lives in a beautiful house, but they've got a closet full of clothes and they have a 2-car garage, but they park crooked in their garage every night, and they keep asking, I just want somebody I can love. I just want to be loved. Well, they're not really actually being serious in a way because they're not making room for their request. They didn't move the stuff over in the closet to make room for somebody to come. They didn't do any internal work to change their perspective or become the person that would be a good partner for somebody like that. You see what I'm saying? They didn't believe, they didn't receive, they didn't make room for their request. So those 3 steps right there are very important to this whole idea of the fact that we can rewire our brain and our thought processes, and we can in turn rewire our results we get in life,
That was
Anyway,
amazing.
I thought that was a pretty cool little synchronicity that happened to be sitting right here next to me when you were talking.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, journaling is also very good too. I know while I was off, that was really when I started to journal heavily, write down my dreams, write down the images that I see when I close my eyes, even down to like what color it was. Like at some point I didn't even realize I was seeing my chakras. So when it first started like kind of happening, I was like, oh, what's that? And then I finally, like, my guides kind of came in and they were like, those are your chakras. You're missing part of the crown. Like I would see them as a circle and it would almost look like a pie was missing. And I was like, okay, I need to work on this. But as I like journaled, I'll make this story very short, but part of what I was journaling, I kept dreaming about like a schoolie or an RV. Didn't have one at the time. I had no idea. And I dreamt about it for like a year and a half, and I would journal and I would draw pictures of me in like this RV. And then all of a sudden one day my friend messaged me and she's like, hey, Facebook Marketplace, there's a purple schoolie out in California. She's like, I think you're supposed to message them. Do you know, within 2 weeks, I had airline tickets to Redding, California, and I flew out and I got myself a purple schoolie and I drove it back home. And like, so literally, I mean, I manifested that. So I just kept, obviously I was dreaming about it. So my higher self was already sending that message in like, hey, this is going to come in. I started drawing it. And then all of a sudden I now have a 30-foot schoolie that's purple. And yeah, it's freaking amazing. And I love it. So it's like, yeah, the brain, the subconsciousness, the knowing that it already has, like we've done all of these things, the quantumness, time is not linear. It's all happening. So it's like all of these things, like even down to that. And I mean, I have so many different stories like that. When I went off on mental like leave, you know how long it takes to get into a therapist and into psychologists and psychiatrists, like it takes a long time. About 3 months before I even realized I had any issues, I had already reached out to a therapist. And right now I couldn't even tell you why, but I had a therapist appointment. I had a psychologist appointment. And then 3 months later, I ended up getting written off by my primary care doctor. And when I went to turn in my FMLA to my company, they're like, you have to have you have to have a psychologist and a therapist note. You can't just have a note written off by your primary care. You have to see one of these doctors and you only have a certain amount of time. And I'm like, oh, wait, I did this 3 months ago and I didn't even know I was going to need it. And it was just like, I mean, the symptoms, the signs, it was amazing. Like, I just can't explain how that whole period of my life happened. Cause I'm like, there's no way that I would have ever had a therapist appointment. I was never depressed in my life or anything like that. And then it just all kind of hit me, but I had everything already laid out and I couldn't even tell you how. Like the higher self just comes in and takes over when you are in desperate need, or when think of it as a tower moment, you know, from your deck of cards. When the tower moment happens, your higher self is already preparing you for what is to happen. And I 100%, I have so many, and I know both of you have to have so many stories like that as well. Like, it's just amazing when you finally like sit down and look at it, and like you're like, oh wow, I was really, my higher self, source energy was here preparing me for everything that I was going to walk through, so I could be this version of me for all of you. So it's just like, it's a lot, but it just shows you how connected everything is. It's just amazing. I don't know. We're amazing beings. The vessels that we have been put in, our souls that are here in our biofield, it really will take care of you if you have faith. And even if you don't, like I said, I didn't even know at the time any of that was going to happen to me. And my higher self took care of me anyway.
Thank you again. True. This episode is just, this is packed with golden nuggets, I'm telling you guys. Wow. I'm just like really grateful to share this space tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me tell it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Marcus.
An outlet for this is it's amazing, because people don't know, like, if they don't hear people's stories about things like this, they think they're stuck, you know, they go take the medicine that the doctor's given. And I'm not saying for people that have medicine not, you know, stop taking. I'm not saying that at all, because there was a point when I first started, I was on depression medicine. I was on fast acting anxiety medication. I was on all of the things. They gave me medication so I didn't have night terrors. Like, they try to do so many things to me. I don't take anything, like nothing. But like at one point they were shoving, you know, all kinds of buspirone. I can't even say them because I don't even remember, but like all the different pills for all of those diagnoses. And I don't take any of them. And I only took them for a very short period of time. Like, it wasn't even, it was not long at all.
Yeah, that's that would be a topic for another episode. Cellular health and how artificial and organic vibrations affect your cellular and bio DNA and stuff. I mean, it's some crucial stuff to be aware of if you're really wanting to be a self-master alchemist in this world. It's not frozen, is it? All right, there we are. I'm back. So I wanted to share something real quick with everybody. This image here. Let me go ahead and just go ahead and pull it up on here. So what I'm about to pull up is a diagram that shows the parallel layers or bodies of our aura. And within it, it shows the physical, the emotional, the mental, the astral, and beyond. And what I'm just wanting to show with this diagram that I'm about to pull up is just how the mental body and its relationship to our emotional and physical happens. So here we go. So This diagram right here shows us our 7 chakras, as well as our different bodies or layers that make up our whole entire aura. So as we can probably see, let me zoom in a little bit more for you guys, just in case if that font's a little too small. So as you can see, you have the physical body, and then the next body you have is the etheric, the emotional, lower mental, astral, higher mind. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the lower mental, that mind, due to it being in the layers, or the layer that is more expanded outwards than the emotional, the etheric, and the physical, that means the mind is more expansive to experience, and it's also more higher vibrational, and it's more quicker than the physical body or the emotional body, due to the vibrational rate of that dimension of yourself. So with that being said, that's why, as we can probably notice in our life, we can mentally think of something, or something can mentally come to us, and then next thing we know, it materializes after we have mentally experienced it. That mental body, due to how more expanded it is than the emotional and the physical, it reacts and it comes into contact with the energy and information that comes into your aura before your emotions and before your energy body and your physical body. So that's why we think about someone, they call 5 minutes later. We see a synchronicity, and the next thing we know, a big transition happens. It just shows how it travels through our field, through these different layers. And it's very rapid and simultaneous and parallel. So with that being said, with the power of the mind commands the emotions. It commands the physical body. It commands your energy centers as well. So the more that you're on par with your mindset, the more sharp you are, the more focused you are on your empowerment, your commands, your programming that you're speaking, then your whole being that is under command to the mind is then reconfiguring, shifting according to your mentalism and vibration. So keep that in mind for everybody out there. You know, what you're absorbing, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what advice you're taking on, what limited belief, what's good, what's bad. These kind of things, they all shift the formula of your being. And what we're continuing to mentally process, just like we spoke on with the subconscious patterns, that's what's reconfiguring to these layers that we're looking at right here. And all these layers are going to shift and form to those commands that you're putting forward. So I'll open up the space to let Rebecca or Sarah share anything as well, if you guys wanted to share anything with this diagram that we have up.
Well, I think looking at this diagram could be overwhelming to some, but not really. But the reason why I bring that up is because I see that it shows here the emotional body, the etheric body, the, lower mental body, the astral plane, different, these different energy sections of us, I think it's so important to emphasize that the first part of all this is your mindset. In other words, what's in your emotional body. If you've got a lot of scars and wounds and things that have happened in the past, that's okay. Know that you have them and know that they're not forever. What I'm saying is like, be the light in the room, be the light to yourself, because if you approach things with a pessimistic mindset or a doomsayer mindset, if you will, for lack of a better explanation, you're going to attract more of that same energy to you. You can never find the solution to your situation in the same conditions that made the situation the problem, and if it's a problem, So I think it's really important to take a deep look at this emotional body of ours and our emotional mindset, and to keep positive. And like we said a long time ago, have faith that this will turn out for the better, that this will be achievable, and that this will be changed to a more preferred condition, and whether it be a diagnosis, whether it be, anything, right? And it's hard sometimes for people because, like for me, for example, in my own personal life, I could use myself as an example. I came from a really tough time in my life, which catapulted me into my spiritual awakening. Okay. And if I had kept that mindset of, excuse my French, but life is going to hell in a handbasket, I would have never been able to get out of that said hill. So I had to change my mindset and become almost overly positive to almost convince myself that it was okay to feel these positive, happy emotions, And once you make the mindset and the change in thought processes of yourself, and to look at the neutral, at least, side of things, much less the positive side of things, that's where it all lies. Is the key, to changing all this is changing your mindset, your perspective, in my opinion, anyway. Because if you secretly think that, well, I'm not really going to be able to achieve this, but you keep telling everybody, gosh, I'm going to achieve this, gosh, I'm going to achieve this, but you secretly think, no, I'm really not going to be able to do this, the universe can hear you, and your wish is its command. Mm-hmm. So that's why I say it's so important to change the mindset that you view something of, before you go to change it.
Yeah, because like the mind's like the orchestrator. So like if the orchestrator's telling the rest of the crowd or the rest of the team, we're not doing this, like, then it's pretty common that your emotions are going to start like feeling that, and then your physical body's going to start feeling that, especially if you're continuously saying that, and that's what you're kind of conditioned to as your normal. So yeah, this really great example, Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah. To kind of add on to that, with the mind, so the mind thinks up. The mind's the creator. The mind is creating things. And so you're saying something, but you don't truly believe it. You're going to feel it in your heart. Your heart is kind of the power punch that makes that happen. So if you keep saying one thing, you'll feel it in your body if it's not actually true, because your heart's going to hurt. And a lot of people will feel it like heart chakra area. But I've noticed through like just my clients and myself, if I say something that doesn't ring true, it doesn't hurt on the left side of my body where your heart is more. It hurts on the right side of the body. It's very interesting. So like I would task anybody out there, if you are telling yourself one thing, but you truly don't believe it, feel it. Sit with that for a second and see if you feel pain in your body. See if you feel something tighten in your chest, right side, left side, wherever, but like see if it's in that heart chakra, because your heart chakra is always going to be that truth for you. So like that's kind of part of it. Like you can think what you want, but you really, like you said, you have to feel it. And if you don't feel it through that heart chakra, it's not going to come in. You have got to literally have both of them working together for that to come in.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Also, I thought of this when you were speaking. You know, it's important also to be honest with ourselves at that point and say, what is this emotion I'm feeling? It's rage. Don't be embarrassed. Don't hide it. Just be honest. Okay, I'm rageful. I'm mad. And say, why am I mad? You might have a very good reason to be mad, and that's okay too. But don't live there, you know?
Yeah.
Right? And that's where a lot of us get stuck inadvertently, because negativity attracts negativity. So
Yeah.
if you go with those vibes, pretty soon you're going to find yourself in a whole bunch of people who feel the same way, you know? So that's what I'm saying. Like, be honest with yourself. And if you need to feel those heavy emotions, feel them. Own them, and then disown them, but know that why they're there. Don't be like ashamed of, I'm not feeling that way or whatever. It's okay. We're all human, man. This is a good friend of all of ours. This guy named Derek that we all know. He says life gets lifey. I love that phrase. Yeah. Life gets lifey, because that's so true. Yeah. So I think it's so important just to be honest with ourselves. You know, where we're truly at. No matter what.
Yeah. The first step for letting go is like accepting. So accepting is that acknowledging, like, I am pissed off. Yeah. Accept it. And then you kind of have to go into the understand mode. Why? You figure out your why. And once you have the acceptance in the why, you can truly, freely 100% let it go. And just the chart that you had up, like, it was reminding me of our cycles that we go through. Like if you follow, the emotional body, think of that as your cycle pattern. And like, if you are stuck in that same cycle, you're going to just keep emanating that same thing all the way out through all the bodies, which is going to vibrationally pull in the same thing. So they say hurt people hurt people. If you are a hurt person and you don't heal, that hurt is emanating through that emotional body out, and it is literally calling other hurt people in. It's like your calling card, you're walking around and your biofield, your auric field is literally just going, I'm hurt, I'm hurt, I'm hurt. Here comes more hurt people. So, I mean, it's a classic example when people say, when you start to heal, some of your friends that have not healed on the same level are going to vibrate out of your biofield. And they do, because your biofield, it changes. It's going to pull in something else. So just look at it. Those are your cycles. And to get out of the cycles, you have to change the mindset.
Yeah. And watch for that good old trauma bonding out there,
Right. Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Trauma bonding.
It'll call it in. Yep.
I do know one thing. Misery does love company.
I tell you, right? Yeah. It's like, there can be times where you just want to share something positive, but maybe someone has a negative perspective about someone that you're trying to share something positive about. And then they just have to wreck that positivity with something negative that they perceive that person as or something. It's like, we have choices, like, we don't have to, we don't gotta ripple that out into the universe,
Yeah, no, for sure. And even beyond all this, I've been through many layers of healing myself and changing my perspective and being able to rewire my consciousness and all this stuff. But honestly, just this week, I was a pessimistic person a few days this week, and I had to pull myself out of it. Like, hey, snap out of it. What's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Why are you making such a vibration in your life? What's really going on here, you know? And I had to dissect that and figure that out, you know, and
Yeah.
that's okay too. It's all a process, right?
Yep. Yep. Like a spiral. Sometimes
Yeah.
we spiral out and then we come back into center again. And it's a learning process, you know. That's just like while I healed the PTSD, I would think I totally got rid of one, you know, this trigger does this, or, you know, this is from this part of this trauma and this is how it's triggered. I'd heal that part, but then all of a sudden I'd find a new trigger. I'd find a new trigger that put me in. And it's like, oh, it's slightly different, but it's still a trigger that puts me into that same trauma experience. So it's literally unwinding, wind back in, unwind, wind back in. So it's just a process of doing that over and over again. It's not an overnight fix, but it is a 100% solid fix for the rest of your life if you do the work and you trust that you are worthy to be here. You're beautiful, you're accepted, you are compassionate, you are, you know, all the things that you want to believe or you should believe about yourself. If you're not here, if you're not worthy, then who is? You know, you're main character. Be the main character in your story.
Yeah. And I also think sometimes our expectations are a little bit high. Like, you know, we have unreal expectations at certain points in our life. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be the best, the best, the best. But first you have to start here, you know? I shouldn't maybe say it like that, but you know what I'm getting at, though.
You know, finding the beauty in the present is so key. It's like there can always be more. There can always be something different. There can always be coulds and woulds. But there's also what is.
Yep.
And when you're just in what it is, then you're just feeling that totality of, I'm not really needing to measure or determine anything when it comes to the value of what I feel divinely right now. And knowing that no matter where I'm at in this cosmos, not this earth, but this cosmos, I am just present and present. Material body, spirit body, planet, grass, dog, whatever it may be. I'm present in this infinite womb of the Creator.
That's beautiful. I used to, I still use this practice, but when I was really going through the thick of the healing, at one point it kind of slapped me the same thing, like be present, feel every molecule of your being. And even if it's that sad day when you are like down and depressed, still try to emanate. Nothing could make me happier than I am right now because I'm alive. Down to the core. I am literally here. Even if you're sad, and it sounds like an oxymoron. How can you feel that, think that? But if you start saying that to yourself, like nothing in this world can make me happier than I am at this present moment right now. I am alive. Like you start to feel that and you start to like, oh, you know what? I am present here. I can feel the air on my skin. I can feel my toes on the floor. I can feel the clothes that I have on pressed up against my skin. I am literally alive right now. I am alive.
I love that. You just reminded me of the very first things I did when I first started this process. And that was, I gave myself a challenge, and that was to give myself gratefuls every day to start my day. I am grateful for my son. I am grateful for my life. I am grateful for the opportunities in front of me. You know, at the very beginning of this whole process, sometimes it can feel overwhelming and hard to find those I am grateful statements. Yes. You know, because you could be in such a low place, for example, where you don't really see much hope in anything. But you're so right. Just be grateful that you have the opportunity to think about this, that you have the opportunity to be alive. You know, you're here, you're you made it this far, you know?
Absolutely.
And those are always really great places to start changing that mindset,
Those
you know?
affirmations and repetition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
There we go. There we go. But, yeah, I feel like this would be a good spot to kind of close out the episode for tonight. This was, I mean, wow, we did wonderful at letting the nuggets stream through. We shared numerous valuable things, and I definitely trust that whoever needs these airwaves will catch them, and there's plenty of gems that can awaken and trigger some things within us regarding the power of the mind. So I have here up on the screen for everybody, this is the link page for our Sacred Kingdom community. We are a worldwide community full of practitioners as well as holistic, psychic, nature-based, and many more wonderful, beautiful souls that have came together to basically form a real-life Avengers team where we are bringing our gifts together, our practices, the knowledge that we can contain for everybody, and helping build and activate these grids around the world with each other. So you guys can check out our link page here, and the link page is in the ticker, so you guys can always check out the ticker. It's also in the description of this episode as well. But if you guys scroll through it, we have the YouTube channel, Facebook, and then you have different individual practitioners that you can explore. So you can just click here. You have Organic Essence, which is Lunar Queen's crystal shop. And you just click on that. And then boom, it takes you to the crystal shop website. Then you can browse many great variety, you name it. So then if you go back to the link page, you click on right here, Blistering with Healing, Rebecca. Rebecca right here has joined us in the episode. So you guys can connect with her through her website, blisteringwood.com. Rebecca, if you'd like to talk a little bit about
You cut out there for a second, but yes, this is my website. If you, on the front page here, there's a lot about me, my journey, kind of telling what I do. But if you go under to the book, spots, and services, that will explain and like say, you know, all the things that I do. But as you go down, I have events on that page, and yeah, I have a lot of. Yeah, there's our Sacred Kingdom retreat in Colorado. And I do I'll put a lot of my YouTube things on here as well. Right underneath that has some of the events that I have coming up that are at my office. And then, yeah, I have my story. I have some of my art on there because besides doing all of my spiritual things, I am also an artist. I'm a pyrographer. I paint, I sculpt, I donate time as well. But yeah, those are all of my healing sessions and whatnot. So you can go through there and book right through there. So yeah, there's a lot of information on my website and whatnot. Yeah, I do beautiful wood burns for people. It's one of my passions. I also love painting and whatnot, but I do a lot of different things. So you can find out all you need to know there and reach out to me through there.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys want to check out that link page, and you can browse through multiple practitioners around the world that you guys can just freely assess and see what practices, what's available, how you can find what's best for you and who resonates at your own leisure, and something that's continuing to grow. So we're going to keep on adding practitioners and wonderful space holders for you guys in the world to be able to tap in, receive these tools, ways of empowerment and practices that you can tangibly integrate into your everyday life, and not just your own, but your family, your children, your loved ones, and those around you in your community. And that's the goal here, is to allow easier access and bridging these communities so that we can all really feel that freedom of knowledge, transparency, empowerment, and knowing that we're not limited to the things that we may have believed that we're limited to when it comes to healing, being able to change our lives, and being able to just continue to grow and be your authentic self in this world. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and close out this space. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that has tapped in and everybody that will tap in the replay. Thank you to Rebecca. Thank you, Sara, for joining this podcast tonight and representing the Sacred Kingdom and sharing the wonderful wisdom and knowledge that you guys have with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having us and allowing us to utilize this platform to get a little bit of knowledge out. A lot of knowledge.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. This has been great.
Absolutely. With that being said, everybody have a beautiful night, and we will see you guys another time. Wholeness and balanced love.
Namaste.
The journey to healing starts with a single step. Are you ready to embrace your true self? Join us on April 27th at the Tranquility Salt Cave in Columbus, Ohio for the New Moon Inner Child Healing Sanctuary, led by Christolight from Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. This transformative event guides you through inner child wounding education, sacred journaling, and a powerful guided meditation for just $55 from 4 to 6 p.m. EST. As a bonus, immerse yourself in the tranquil environment of the Salt Cave with a 50% discount on a 1-hour halotherapy session, available for just $20 more from 6 to 7 p.m. EST. Spaces are limited, so don't miss this unique opportunity to reconnect with your authentic self and release emotional baggage. Book your spot now by scanning the QR code or visiting tranquilitysaltcave.com/events. If you have any questions, DM Christolight or call Tranquility at 614-859-3419. Your journey to healing starts here. Embrace the new you under the new moon.
A New Moon Inner Child Healing Sanctuary, taking place for the first time ever at Tranquility Salt Cave in Columbus, Ohio. Get your ticket today, as spaces are limited. Any questions, just reach out to myself, Christolight. I will gladly guide you along the way.